First Contact Protocol. Commander Ilara Chen stood motionless on the observation deck of the ISV Pathfinder, Earth's foremost defensive vessel. Her dark eyes reflected the countless stars beyond the viewport, but her attention was fixed on something else entirely: the swarm of alien vessels that had appeared at the edge of the solar system 3 days ago. "Status report," she said, her voice steady despite the tension coiling in her stomach. Lieutenant Marcus Webb looked up from his console. 143 vessels holding position just beyond Neptune's orbit, Commander. No change in their formation for the past 6 hours. And still no response to our communications. Nothing beyond their initial message. Ilara nodded grimly. The aliens, who called themselves the Voidborn, had transmitted only once: a demand for Earth's unconditional surrender, claiming humanity was an anomalous species that required integration. Whatever that meant. "Captain, I'm detecting energy fluctuations across their fleet," called Senior Science Officer Kaya Okafor, her fingers dancing across her holographic interface. It could indicate preparation for advance. "Understood. Alert Defense Command and maintain our position," Ilara replied, turning to face the bridge crew. "If they want to talk, we'll talk. If they want to fight." She left the sentence unfinished. The Pathfinder was Earth's most advanced vessel, but it was only one ship against a fleet that outnumbered them 20 to 1. Earth's orbital defense grid was formidable, but against this many unknown vessels, the outcome was far from certain. Communications Officer Jin Park raised his hand suddenly. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from the lead vessel." "On screen," Ilara ordered, straightening her uniform as she faced the main display. The screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike anything Ilara had ever seen. The Voidborn had translucent skin that seemed to pulse with bioluminescent light, revealing shadowy organs beneath. Its face was vaguely humanoid, but with too many eyes, 6 of them, arranged in a circular pattern around a mouth that moved with unsettling precision. "I am Overseer Xal of the Voidborn Collective," the creature said, its voice unnaturally smooth despite the alien physiology. "You will lower your planetary defenses and prepare for integration. Resistance is inadvisable." Ilara stepped forward. "I am Commander Ilara Chen of the Earth Defense Force. Your presence in our system and your demands are unwelcome. We are a sovereign species with rights to our world and system." The alien's eyes blinked in rapid sequence. "Your claim is invalid. Your species designation conflicts with developmental parameters. You are an anomaly requiring correction." Kaya caught Ilara's eye from her station and made a subtle gesture. Ilara gave a nearly imperceptible nod. "Overseer Xal," Kaya said, stepping forward. "May I ask what specifically about humanity you find anomalous?" The alien paused, its rhythmic bioluminescence faltering momentarily. "Your technological advancement curve is incompatible with your biological markers. Your presence here contradicts established cosmic patterns." Ilara noticed the hesitation. "What patterns are these? Perhaps we could share scientific data to resolve this misunderstanding." "There is no misunderstanding," Sal responded, but again with that strange pause. "Your species exists outside permissible variance. Integration will correct the anomaly." The transmission ended abruptly. "That was weird," Marcus said, breaking the silence that followed. "There's something off about their communication," Jin observed. "The translation was too perfect, almost like they learned our language but don't understand the nuances," Kaya finished. "And did you notice how it hesitated when questioned about specifics?" Ilara nodded, as if it's following a script but lacks improvisational flexibility. She turned to Jin. "Send all communication data to linguistic analysis. I want every syllable examined for patterns." A priority alert chimed from Ilara's console. "Commander, incoming encrypted transmission from Earth Defense Command. Admiral Zhao requests your immediate return. All diplomatic approaches are terminated." Ilara frowned. "That's unusual." The first contact protocol mandates at least 3 attempts at peaceful communication. Commander, Marcus called out, his voice tense. The Voidborn fleet is moving. They're advancing toward Mars. Set course for Earth, maximum speed, Ilara ordered. Whatever's happening, we need to get behind our defensive perimeter. As the Pathfinder turned and accelerated toward Earth, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that something fundamental was missing from this equation. The Voidborn's behavior didn't make sense. Their technology was clearly advanced, yet their diplomatic approach was puzzlingly crude. They're not pursuing, Marcus reported, surprise evident in his voice. In fact, they're maintaining their exact formation, just moving it forward, almost like a programmed behavior rather than a tactical decision, Kaya muttered. The Pathfinder raced through the void, passing the orbit of Mars in record time. As they approached Earth's orbital defense grid, Ilara was startled to see it was fully activated, all platforms glowing with charged weapon systems. That's strange, she said. The grid is never fully powered unless... Her words died as her console chimed with another encrypted message. This one was tagged with a classification she'd never seen before, Guardian Prime. The message was terse. Land at Ellesmere Base. Authorization. Admiral Zhao. Level. Absolute. Ilara frowned. Ellesmere. There's no base on Ellesmere Island. Actually, Kaya said hesitantly, there are rumors in the scientific community. Underground research facility, supposedly dating back centuries. Most think it's just a myth. Apparently not, Ilara replied, sending confirmation of the orders. Navigation. Set course for Ellesmere Island. Let's find out what this is all about. The Pathfinder descended through Earth's atmosphere, banking north toward the Arctic. As they approached the coordinates, all they could see was an endless expanse of ice and snow. Scan for structures, Ilara ordered. Nothing, Commander, Marcus replied. Whatever's down there, it's shielded from our sensors. As they hovered over the designated landing zone, the ice below them suddenly split apart, revealing a massive hangar bay where none should exist. The Pathfinder descended slowly into the underground facility, the ice closing seamlessly above them. They were met by a squad of security personnel wearing uniforms unlike any in the Earth Defense Force, midnight blue with a silver spiral insignia. The squad leader approached as Ilara and her senior officers disembarked. Commander Chen, I'm Captain Rivera. Admiral Zhao is waiting for you in the war room. Your crew will remain on board. Ilara nodded to her team and followed Rivera through a series of security checkpoints. Each door was more heavily fortified than the last, and Ilara noticed that the construction materials became increasingly unfamiliar the deeper they went. Finally, they entered a vast circular chamber where dozens of personnel monitored wall-sized displays showing the Voidborn fleet, Earth's defense grid, and numerous data streams Ilara couldn't interpret. Admiral Zhao stood at the center of it all. Unlike the crisp uniform he wore at official functions, here he was dressed in the same midnight blue as the security team, the spiral insignia prominently displayed. Commander Chen, he said, his face grave. Welcome to Guardian Base. I apologize for the secrecy, but what you're about to learn has been Earth's most closely guarded secret for over 8,000 years. Ilara blinked. 8,000 years, sir. Before I explain further, Zhao continued, there's someone you need to meet. He gestured to a woman who approached from across the room. This is Dr. Isla Patel, Director of Guardian Operations. Dr. Patel was elegant, with silver-streaked black hair and piercing eyes that seemed to evaluate everything they fell upon. Commander Chen, your encounter with the Voidborn has accelerated our timetable considerably. What you saw out there wasn't a first contact scenario. It was a recognition event. I don't understand, Ilara said. The Voidborn aren't acting independently, Patel explained. They're proxy scouts for a much older, much more dangerous species, one that humanity has encountered before. She led them to a central holographic display that showed Earth, but subtly different, The continents were arranged slightly differently, and strange structures dotted the surface that Ilara didn't recognize. Human history, as you know, it is a carefully constructed fiction, Paddle said. 8,000 years ago, humanity wasn't a collection of primitive tribes developing agriculture. We were an advanced, spacefaring civilization with technology far beyond what we possess even today. Ilara stared in disbelief. That's impossible. There's no archaeological evidence, because it was deliberately erased. Zhao interrupted. Our ancestors made the most difficult decision imaginable. They buried their cities, dismantled their technology, and rewrote their own history, all to hide from a species we call the Collectors. The hologram shifted to show massive crystalline structures moving between stars. The Collectors don't simply destroy civilizations, Paddle continued. They harvest them, their knowledge, their technology, their genetic material. And 8 millennia ago, they nearly consumed humanity. Our ancestors won a Pyrrhic victory, driving them back, but at terrible cost. Rather than risk another encounter, Zhao added, they transformed Earth into a fortress disguised as a primitive world. They encoded the knowledge of our true history and the defensive systems they built into the genetic memory of specific lineages, the Guardians. And you're saying these Voidborn are connected to the Collectors? Ilara asked, struggling to process this information. They're pawns, Patel confirmed. Biological drones modified to seek out hidden civilizations. They don't even know they're being used. A technician approached urgently. Director, we have activity at all primary nodes. The system is fully activating. Patel's eyes widened slightly. The first sign of emotion Ilara had seen from her. It's happening faster than we predicted. Bring up the tactical display. The hologram shifted to show Earth from orbit. As they watched, points of blue light began to appear across the planet's surface. Hundreds of them, then thousands. What are we seeing? Ilara asked. Earth waking up, Zhao said softly. The ancient defense system, built into the planet itself. Stonehenge, the pyramids, the Nazca lines, they were never monuments or religious sites. They're components of a planetary defense network that has been dormant for millennia, drawing power from Earth's core, waiting for this moment. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. The Voidborn fleet has crossed Mars' orbit, a technician announced. They'll reach our defensive perimeter in 30 minutes. Admiral, Ilara said, the Pathfinder should join the defense fleet. We can. No, Heidel interrupted. Your ship stays here. What's about to happen isn't a battle, Commander. It's an awakening. On the main display, the Voidborn fleet continued its inexorable advance toward Earth. The planet's orbital platforms were fully charged, but made no move to fire. Shouldn't we be engaging them at maximum range? Ilara asked, her tactical training screaming at the apparent inaction. Watch, Zhao said simply. As the Voidborn fleet crossed the invisible line of Earth's defensive perimeter, something extraordinary happened. A pulse of blue-white energy erupted from the planet itself, spreading outward like ripples in a pond. It passed harmlessly through Earth's defense platforms, but when it reached the Voidborn fleet, each ship became enveloped in a cocoon of light. For a moment, the entire fleet shimmered like stars seen through water. And then they were simply gone. No explosions, no debris, just empty space where 143 warships had been moments before. Silence fell over the command center. Did we just destroy their entire fleet? Ilara finally asked. No, Paddle replied. They weren't destroyed. They were transported to a containment dimension, a pocket of spacetime separate from our own where they can be studied safely. And hopefully, Zhao added, freed from collector influence. I don't understand, Ilara said. If we have this technology that can instantly neutralize an entire enemy fleet, why the secrecy? Why maintain the fiction that we're less advanced than we are? Because the collectors are still out there, Paddle replied grimly. And what we just witnessed was merely the first layer of Earth's defenses. The Voidborn were scouts. Now that they've found us, the collectors themselves won't be far behind. She turned to face Ilara directly. Commander Chen, you're here because your genetic tests revealed Guardian markers. Dormant until now, but present. You have ancestral memories locked in your DNA. Memories of who we really are and the technology we once commanded. We need those memories awakened. How? Ilara asked. Patel gestured to a doorway across the chamber. Through there is a memory induction chamber. It will accelerate the awakening process. Normally, we'd have months to ease you into this, but with the collectors coming, we need every Guardian active. And if I refuse, you won't, Zhao said with certainty. Not once you understand what's at stake. The holographic display shifted again, showing images from cities around the world. The ancient structures, pyramids, monoliths, stone circles, were all glowing with the same blue energy they'd witnessed moments ago. People were gathering around them, recording with their devices, expressions of awe and fear on their faces. The awakening won't be contained, Patel said. Humanity is about to learn the truth about its past, ready or not. The question is whether we'll remember enough of our ancestors' knowledge in time to survive what's coming. Ilara looked at the images of ordinary people witnessing extraordinary events, then back at the empty space where an alien fleet had vanished minutes ago. Everything she thought she knew about human history had just been revealed as carefully constructed fiction. Yet somehow, deep within her, something resonated with this new truth, as if some part of her had always known. How long do we have? She asked. Based on historical records and the current rate of system activation, Patel replied. The collectors will arrive within 30 days. Then we'd better get started, Ilara said, straightening her shoulders as she walked toward the memory induction chamber. Whatever ancient knowledge lay dormant within her, humanity would need it for the battle ahead. As the door closed behind her, Admiral Zhao turned to Patel. Will it be enough? It has to be, she replied, watching as more and more points of light appeared across the holographic Earth. Because this time, we're not hiding. This time, we fight. Guardians of the Spiral. Ilara stood in the center of the memory induction chamber, surrounded by spiraling patterns of light that seemed to flow through and around her body. Each pulse brought with it fragments of knowledge, images, sensations, technical schematics, and battle strategies from a civilization she had never known yet somehow remembered. The chamber is working at peak efficiency. Dr. Patel's voice came through the communication system. Your neural pathways are adapting remarkably quickly. Ilara barely heard her. She was lost in the flood of ancestral memories, seeing Earth as it once was, a world of impossible cities with spires that reached into the clouds, vessels that traveled between stars as easily as modern ships crossed oceans. She saw the first encounter with the collectors, crystalline entities that moved through space like living ships, beautiful and terrible in their hunger. And she remembered the war, the devastating conflict that had nearly extinguished humanity, ending with a desperate gambit that had driven the collectors back, but left Earth's civilization in ruins. When the induction process finally ended hours later, Ilara emerged transformed. Knowledge that would have taken years to learn conventionally was now integrated into her consciousness. How do you feel? Admiral Zhao asked as she rejoined them in the command center. Like I'd lived two lives simultaneously, Ilara replied. I remember flying ships that haven't existed for millennia. I remember creating technologies we haven't rediscovered yet. She looked at her hands as if they belonged to someone else. I remember dying in the final battle against the collectors. Memory transference is imperfect, Patel explained. You're experiencing echo memories from multiple ancestors. The integration process will continue for several days. Ilara nodded, her attention drawn to the tactical displays. The containment dimension. I know how to access it now. We need to study the Voidborn, understand how the collectors are controlling them. There might be information we can use. My thoughts exactly, Zhao replied. We've assembled a team to accompany you. including someone who's experienced an even more comprehensive awakening than yours. He gestured to a man standing quietly at one of the monitoring stations. Dr. Lucas Freeman was unassuming in appearance, average height, brown hair streaked with gray, unremarkable features. Yet when he turned to face Ilara, his eyes revealed a depth of knowledge that made her inhale sharply. Dr. Freeman's genetic markers are the strongest we've ever recorded, Paddle explained. He carries memories from the Guardian Prime lineage, those who designed the planetary defense system itself. Commander Chen, Freeman said, his voice gentle despite the weight of knowledge behind it. I've been waiting for someone like you. Most who undergo the awakening process can access only fragments of memory. You and I are different. We remember enough to make a difference. So what's our plan? Ilara asked, instinctively deferring to his greater experience with the awakened memories. We enter the containment dimension, Freeman replied. We study the void-born vessels, particularly their communication systems, and if possible, we remove the collector influence from at least one of their leaders. They may have crucial intelligence about the coming invasion. 4 hours later, Ilara stood with Freeman and a small team in a circular chamber deep within the Guardian base. The walls were covered with shifting symbols that seemed to move when she wasn't looking directly at them. In the center was a platform surrounded by curved pillars of glowing blue material. The team included Kaya Okafor and Jin Park from the Pathfinder, along with 2 Guardian security specialists, Major Helena Santos and Captain Tenzin Dorj. All had undergone abbreviated memory induction, though none as extensive as Ilara's or Freeman's. The transfer gateway operates by creating a controlled fold in space-time, Freeman explained as they checked their equipment. It's perfectly safe, though the transition can be disorienting. Will the Voidborn be able to detect us? Kaya asked. No, Freeman replied. Time moves differently in the containment dimension. For them, only moments have passed since they were transported. They're in a state of suspended animation. Dr. Paddle entered, carrying 6 small devices that resembled wristbands. Communication and emergency recall units, she explained, distributing them. They'll maintain your connection to our dimension and allow us to extract you if necessary. What exactly are we looking for? Jin asked as he secured the device to his wrist. 3 things, Paddle replied. First, confirm that the Voidborn fleet is securely contained. Second, examine their technology for any clues about their connection to the Collectors. And third, if possible, free their leader from Collector influence. Freeman stepped onto the platform and touched a sequence of symbols on a control panel. The pillars began to hum, and the air between them shimmered like heat rising from pavement. Ready? He asked, looking at the team. Ilara took a deep breath and nodded. One by one, they joined Freeman on the platform. The humming grew louder, and Ilara felt a strange pulling sensation, as if her body was being gently stretched in all directions. There was a flash of blue light, and suddenly they were somewhere else. The containment dimension was nothing like Ilara had expected. Instead of a prison or void, they stood in what appeared to be a perfect miniature replica of Earth's solar system. Above them, tiny planets orbited a small sun, while below their feet was a transparent surface through which they could see stars. Incredible, Kaya whispered, looking around in wonder. It's like a scale model of our system. The containment dimension mirrors our reality, Freeman explained. It helps stabilize the transfer and makes it easier to locate specific objects. He pointed to a cluster of lights near the tiny Earth. Those are the Voidborn ships. They moved toward the lights, which grew larger as they approached. Soon they could see all 143 Voidborn vessels suspended in space, perfectly preserved as if frozen in time. They're just paused, Jin said in amazement. Time dilation. Freeman nodded. For them, barely seconds have passed since they were transported. They boarded the largest ship, Overseer Xal's command vessel. Inside, they found the Voidborn crew motionless at their stations, their translucent skin barely pulsing with bioluminescence, expressions of confusion or alarm frozen on their alien features. Kaya scanned them with a device Patel had provided. They're in a state of suspended animation. Vital signs are stable but extremely slowed. Where's Overseer Ktal? Ilara asked. Freeman led them to the ship's bridge, where they found the Voidborn leader standing before a command console. Unlike his crew, Ktal's eyes moved slightly, tracking their approach. He's more aware than the others, Freeman observed. Senior collector proxies are designed with greater resistance to temporal effects. Ilara approached cautiously. Can he hear us? I believe so, Freeman replied. He adjusted a control on his wristband, and a field of energy surrounded Ktal. The Voidborn's body relaxed slightly, and his bioluminescence pulsed more actively. What have you done? Sal asked, his voice strained as if fighting against enormous pressure. Where am I? You're in a containment dimension, Ilara explained. We transported your fleet here to protect Earth. Zell's circular arrangement of eyes narrowed. Impossible. Your species lacks such technology. We had it all along, Freeman said, stepping forward. We just didn't remember until now. Kaya moved closer with her scanner. I'm detecting an unusual energy signature at the base of his cranial structure, she said, showing Freeman the readings. Could that be the collector influence? Freeman studied the scan and nodded. A control implant. All Voidborn probably have them, but his is more sophisticated. Ilara addressed the alien directly. You told us humans were an anomaly. Why did you say that? Fel seemed to struggle with the question. Your pattern is wrong. You should not be here. The Great Convergence requires all anomalies to be rectified. The Great Convergence, Ilara repeated. What is that? Fel's bioluminescence flared. The collective comes to bring harmony, to elevate worthy species. The collective, Freeman said grimly. That's what the collectors call themselves now. Fel didn't respond. Instead, he began to tremble, and a viscous fluid leaked from his eyes, the equivalent of blood. The implant is fighting his conscious mind, Freeman said urgently. We need to remove it before it causes permanent damage. Can you do that? Ilara asked. Freeman hesitated, then nodded. My awakened memories include medical knowledge about xenophysiology. I'll need Kaya's help. They carefully positioned Saul on the floor of the bridge. Freeman took a small tool from his kit and made adjustments based on Kaya's scanner readings. The implant is crystalline, he explained. It's embedded at the base of his neural cluster where it can influence his thoughts and perceptions. We need to disrupt its energy pattern without damaging the surrounding tissue. As Freeman worked, Jin explored the ship's computer systems. Commander, he called from a nearby console. You need to see this. Ilara joined him and looked at the screen. It showed a star map with several systems highlighted in sequence. These are worlds the Voidborn have rectified in the past year, Jin explained. Look at the pattern. The highlighted systems formed a clear path leading directly to Earth. They were being guided here, Ilara realized. The collectors have been using the Voidborn to map a route, Major Santos added, studying the map. They're methodical. I've isolated the implant, Freeman called out from the floor. Kaya, I need you to monitor his vital signs while I extract it. Ilara and the others watched as Freeman carefully used his tool to draw out a small glowing crystal from the base of Saul's skull. The moment it left his body, Saul gasped, his bioluminescence brightening dramatically, all 6 eyes opening wide with sudden clarity. What have you done? The Voidborn asked, his voice stronger and somehow different, less mechanical, more organic. This was controlling you, Freeman said, holding up the crystal. You and your people have been used as scouts for the collectors. Vel struggled to sit up. Collectors, yes, I remember now. The collective. They came to our world as allies, offering technology and knowledge. But then, he paused, his bioluminescence dimming in what Ilara recognized as the equivalent of horror. They began to change us, Little by little, those who resisted disappeared. The collective, Ilara repeated. Is that what the collectors call themselves now? Zell's skin rippled in what might have been a nod. They present themselves as benevolent unifiers, while secretly consuming civilizations from within. They've subsumed half the known galaxy already. He looked at them with new understanding. And Earth is their primary target, the one world that escaped them long ago. How much time do we have before they arrive? Ilara asked. Less than 30 of your days, Sal replied grimly. And when they come, they will bring a fleet that makes mine look insignificant. Ilara's communication device beeped with an incoming message from Dr. Patel. Return immediately. Ancient structures worldwide are fully activating. Earth is awakening faster than we predicted. When they returned to the Guardian base with Sol, they found it transformed. The walls pulsed with bright blue energy, and new chambers had appeared where solid rock had been before. Staff members rushed through corridors carrying equipment that hadn't existed days ago. What's happening? Ilara asked as they stepped off the transfer platform. Earth is remembering what it truly is, Paddle replied, leading them to a vast new chamber that had opened beneath the ice. Ancient systems are coming online all over the planet. The new chamber housed an enormous holographic display of Earth, with hundreds of points of light glowing across its surface. Each light represents an ancient structure that has activated, Paddle explained. Stonehenge, the pyramids, the Nazca Lines, Easter Island. They were never just monuments or religious sites. They're components of Earth's defense network. Kel stared at the display in amazement. Your ancestors built all this, and then simply forgot about it. Not forgot, Freeman corrected. Sacrificed. They gave up their technology and most of their history to hide from the collectors. He approached the hologram and touched one of the glowing points. It expanded to show the Great Pyramid of Giza, now emitting a faint blue light visible even in satellite images. We're receiving reports from around the world, a technician called out. The public is noticing. Social media is flooded with images and videos. We can't contain this anymore. We never expected to. Patel nodded grimly. The awakening was always going to be public. She turned to face them. It's time to tell humanity the truth. We've prepared for this day for generations. And what about my fleet? Sal asked. My people are still under collector control. We'll free them, Ilara promised, but we'll need your help to prepare for what's coming. Admiral Geo joined them, his expression grave. We've received new intelligence. The collector fleet has increased speed. They'll arrive in 21 days, not 30. Then we have 3 weeks to prepare, Ilara said, the memories of ancient battles rising in her mind. We need to accelerate the awakening process for all potential guardians worldwide. We need to free as many Voidborn as possible to gain tactical intelligence. And we need to reactivate technologies that haven't been seen on Earth for 8 millennia. It won't be enough, Xal said quietly. The collector fleet includes world breakers, vessels capable of shattering planets. Your defenses are impressive, but insufficient. Then we'll need to be smarter, Freeman said. The ancient records mention a weapon, the spiral nexus. It was theoretical even in our ancestors' time, but the principles were sound. You're talking about the convergence disruptor, Ilara said, ancient knowledge surfacing in her mind. It severs the connection between collector nodes, turning their strength against them. Yes, Freeman nodded, surprised. Your awakening is progressing even faster than mine did. We have the frameworks in the ancient database, Paddle said, but building such a device would require materials and expertise we don't have. Zal's bioluminescence brightened. My people do. The Voidborn were master engineers before the collectors subjugated us. If you free my senior scientists from their implants, we could adapt the technology of our ships. A human Voidborn alliance. Zhao mused. That would be unprecedented. So is surviving a collector invasion, Ilara pointed out. The holographic display suddenly shifted, focusing on a region in the South Pacific. A massive structure was rising from the ocean floor, a tower of the same material as the Guardian base, glowing with intense blue light. The Pacific Spire, Freeman breathed. I thought it was destroyed in the final battle. Apparently not, Paddle said. Earth has more surprises for us yet. As they watched, similar structures began emerging around the world. Buried cities, underground complexes, island facilities that had been hidden beneath the waves for millennia. Earth was not simply awakening its defenses, it was reconstructing its ancient civilization. We have a chance, Ilara realized. A real chance. Zell moved to stand beside her, his alien features solemn. The collectors believe they are coming to harvest a primitive world. Instead, they will face two species fighting for their freedom. More than two, Zhao added. We've been monitoring communications from space. Other civilizations have noticed Earth's awakening. Some are offering alliance. The collectors have made many enemies, Sal confirmed. If Earth stands against them openly, others will join. Ilara looked at the growing network of ancient structures illuminating the holographic Earth. For 8,000 years, humanity had hidden its true nature, burying its greatest achievements and living as a shadow of what it once was. But that time was over. Contact every awakened guardian worldwide, she told Patel. Activate the memory induction chambers at all facilities. We need everyone to remember who we really are. She turned to Patel. And we'll free your people, all of them. The Voidborn deserve to reclaim their identity as much as we do. The collectors believe they're coming to find an anomaly, Freeman said with grim satisfaction. Instead, they'll find humanity awakened, the Voidborn freed, and a coalition ready to end their harvesting for good. Outside the Guardian base, the northern lights danced across the Arctic sky, but now they pulsed with the same blue energy that emanated from ancient sites around the world. Earth was transmitting a message to the cosmos, a declaration that humanity had emerged from hiding, remembered its power, and stood ready to defend not just itself, but all free species against the collectors. Ilara watched the lights through a viewport, the weight of dual histories resting on her shoulders, her own life, and the echoes of ancestors who had fought this enemy before. This time, humanity wouldn't hide. This time, they would fight. N.